Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos plays matchmaker for 3 couples. Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos found her second love on her journey. She and Chalk Chapel are engaged and beginning their life together. There were 23 other men who left the mansion single. The women from the Golden Bachelor asked Joan if any would be good matches for them. Turns out that Joan is pretty good at matchmaking. She potentially has hooked up 3 couples. Keep reading to find out more. Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos seems to be pretty good at matching couples up. Who needs a golden paradise when they already have Joan fixing them up? She spoke about it all to US Weekly during a recent photo shoot. Joan said, "I've already set 3 of them up. We have love connections that are brewing right now. And I have 2 more that I'm looking at and working on. We have to see how that is going to unfold. There are already 5 guys from this season now involved with somebody. They came off of this and they were popular guys, and I'm not surprised that some of them have girlfriends already." She didn't name any specific men, but fans have already seen a few of them together. Gary and Sandra were hanging out, as well as Jordan Heller and Leslie Fhima. Another possible match is Jack Lencioni and Susan Knowles. As far as who the men are already in relationships, there are many. Mark Anderson is reportedly dating One Tree Hill star Barbara Allen Woods. Jonathan Roan is also in a relationship already and is very happy. Now, it seems like even Guy Gansert may have found love all on his own. With all the men from Joan Vassos' season of The Golden Bachelorette getting involved in relationships, the choices for the Golden Bachelor are dwindling. Many thought that Mark Anderson would get the leading role. However, that changed when he was seen out with Barbara on numerous occasions. There are still many hoping Charles Ling will be given the opportunity. He won the hearts of many with his sweet demeanor and genuine personality. Chalk Chapel also thinks that Keith Gordon could be a good option for the lead. Overall, he and Joan said there are so many men who would do an incredible job. So far ABC has yet to comment and announce a name for the lead for Season 2. Who would you want to see as the lead? What do you think about Joan being so good at matchmaking? Stay tuned for more updates. Joan Vassos had captivated America during her stint as the Golden Bachelorette, bringing her poise, elegance, and endearing charm to every episode. But when her fairy tale romance with her final choice culminated in a sunset wedding on the shores of Maui, Joan realized her journey wasn't quite over. She found love, but her heart ached for the singles she met along the way. Some had poured their hearts out to her, sharing stories of loss, loneliness, and longing. She couldn't forget them. So when producers approached Joan with a new idea, a spin-off where she would play matchmaker for others, she didn't hesitate. It was her turn to give back. The concept was simple yet intriguing. Joan would identify 3 pairs of singles who had crossed her path during her journey and guide them toward love. The stakes high. The drama inevitable. Couple 1, Brenda and Richard. The second chance. Brenda had been a contestant on Joan's season, a lively widow with a penchant for baking and ballroom dancing. Her effervescent personality made her a fan favorite, but she'd been sent home mid-season, leaving viewers and Joan wondering why she hadn't found love. Richard, on the other hand, was a retired architect with a quick wit and a calm demeanor. He'd applied for the Golden Bachelor as a joke, but Joan had spotted the quiet sadness behind his jovial facade. Though he didn't make it far on the show, his letters to Joan revealed a yearning to open his heart again after losing his wife of 40 years. Joan invited Brenda and Richard to her elegant Florida home, where she'd set up a dinner party. Soft jazz played in the background, and candlelight flickered on the patio. "Brenda," Joan began with her signature warmth, "I know you've been hesitant to let someone into your life again. And Richard, you've been so brave in sharing your story. I think you two might just be the missing pieces in each other's puzzle. At first, the conversation was tentative small talk about their favorite vacation spots and hobbies. But as the evening progressed, something shifted. Brenda's laughter rang out like music, and Richard's eyes twinkled with newfound energy. By dessert, they were swapping stories about their grandchildren and planning to take a tango class together. Joan watched from the corner of the patio, a satisfied smile playing on her lips. Couple 2, Marcy and Greg. The opposites attract. Marcy was the definition of a free spirit. A retired art teacher, she spent her days painting murals and volunteering at animal shelters. Greg, on the other hand, was a former military officer with a penchant for structure and discipline. He had joined the Golden Bachelorette on a dare from his golf buddies but had left after the first week, overwhelmed by the chaos of reality TV. Joan saw potential in their stark differences. Marcy needs someone to ground her, she mused, and Greg needs someone to help him loosen up. She orchestrated their first meeting at a pottery workshop. The colorful, chaotic studio was a far cry from Greg's comfort zone, and he arrived in a neatly pressed shirt that immediately set Marcy giggling. "I didn't realize pottery required formal attire," she teased, handing him a smock. As the class progressed, Marcy's hands flew across the clay wheel, crafting a vase with whimsical swirls, while Greg meticulously shaped a perfectly symmetrical bowl. Despite their contrasting styles, they found themselves leaning toward each other, sharing tips and laughing over their clay-splattered aprons. By the end of the day, Greg surprised Marcy by suggesting they visit a nearby farmer's market. "I might not know art," he admitted, "but I know a good pie stand when I see one." Joan couldn't have been more delighted when Marcy texted her a photo of their pottery side by side, a lopsided vase and a flawless bowl, somehow perfectly complementary. Couple 3, Evelyn and Thomas. The slow burn. Evelyn, an elegant former librarian, had been one of Joan's closest confidants on the Golden Bachelorette. She exuded wisdom and grace but had confessed to Joan that she hadn't dated since her divorce decades earlier. Thomas, a silver-haired jazz musician, was another favorite from Joan's season. Though he charmed everyone with his soulful saxophone playing, he also revealed a vulnerable side, admitting he was still healing from a broken engagement. Joan sensed that Evelyn and Thomas needed a slower approach, something that would allow them to build trust. She arranged a quiet afternoon at a local bookstore cafe, knowing their shared love of literature would provide the perfect icebreaker. When Evelyn arrived, she was nervous, clutching a worn copy of Pride and Prejudice. Thomas greeted her with a gentle smile, a leather-bound notebook in hand. They started with books debating classics versus modern fiction and moved on to music, with Thomas sharing stories of his days on tour. Evelyn surprised him by revealing her own passion for poetry, reciting lines she'd written in her younger years. As the sun set, Thomas asked Evelyn if she'd like to attend one of his upcoming performances. "It's just a small gig," he said, "but I'd love for you to be there." Evelyn hesitated for a moment, then nodded, her cheeks tinged with a rosy hue. Joan, watching from a distance, felt her heart swell. A grand finale. Weeks later, Joan gathered all three couples for a garden party at her home. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement and a hint of nervousness as the pairs reunited and swapped stories about their budding relationships. Brenda and Richard arrived hand in hand, their chemistry undeniable. Marcy and Greg were already bickering playfully over whose pottery had turned out better. Evelyn and Thomas entered quietly, their bond evident in the way they exchanged shy smiles. Joan raised a glass of champagne. "To love, in all its beautiful, messy forms," she toasted. "May we always be brave enough to seek it and wise enough to cherish it." As the evening wore on, Laughter echoed through the garden, and Joan found herself reflecting on her journey. Helping these couples find love had been as rewarding as finding it herself. The cameras captured every moment, but Joan barely noticed them. This wasn't about ratings or fame, it was about connection, healing, and the enduring magic of romance. For Joan Vassos, the Golden Bachelorette had been just the beginning. Now, as a matchmaker, she was proving that love truly has no age limit and that sometimes, the best part of the story is helping others write their own. 40.